Good morning, everybody, and welcome here to the Houston Supercell in Houston, Texas, as we are back in the United States for the first time since race number 2. This is going to be GOGH home qualifying for race number 13 of the fourth season of the NR2003 Red Bull GT Series. At another, you guessed it, a difficult racetrack, and we're going to have to see how these drivers are going to adapt to this racetrack here in Texas. Of course, we normally would be racing at maybe like Code and all that, but I thought we'd give this track a little try. This looks like we have our first driver rolling out. That would be Matthew Hubert in the number 15 machine. This track, if I recall correctly, has not been run by any NR races the since the Fark Low Dollar Series raced here. As you see, the green cones indicate the restart zone here at the Houston Supercell. This is a 1.367 mile track. You can kind of think this track is almost like what Chicagoland looks like. This is another track from Sign On 44. Special thank you to him for letting me download this amazing track, as Matthew Hubert sets a 28.123. You see, when Hubert goes through turn 1, you can hear the tires squeal. And that may be a factor of whether that's good or bad for your equipment. There's John Schmidt in the 33 machine. Right there, you can hear the tires squealing. John Schmidt, 47th in the points. It's been a difficult season for this 33 bunch. There's Courtney Lynn, 28.254. Schmidt goes a little faster than her. Of course, Houston makes its debut on the schedule. We're going to be really exciting to see what kind of racing we're going to see as Courtney Lynn gets up into the wall. This track is covered in safer barriers. Last time there was racing on this track was all the way back into 2012 was the last time we saw any series race here at the Houston Supercells. We're looking at Sam Tenley at 27.088. Drafting help from Andrew Williams and Henrietta Fitzwater, as both of them go up into the wall. So I really don't know what kind of racing we're going to see here. But based off what I'm seeing here in GOGH qualifying, it's getting really dicey. And this is with 13 cars. Imagine we have 42 on track later this afternoon. Was that Armstrong, ever since she fell out of the top 35, has never recovered. Reagan Whitlock, who fell out of the top 35 last week at Mexico City, currently 36th in the points, as David Santi is 4th quickest. And this is going to be a difficult pit road for these drivers to get onto to make adjustments and all that. And with this being a sunny day, the track's going to get slicker. The cars are going to handle a lot differently as Brooke Packett brushes the outside retaining wall, the safer barrier. Davis Santi in the 66 gained 3 spots up to 40th in the points. Trying to make a race this week. Reagan Whitlock, by the way, has failed to qualify once. And Zachary Fitzwater in the 43, fourth quickest in that ride. As John Schmidt comes out onto the track. See, here's what I was talking about with this pit road. It's almost like Darlington. It's a really sharp turn trying to get on the pit road. And this is kind of not like a super speedway. It's kind of one of those, almost reminds you of Nashville, kind of. And with this afternoon's race, I'm really curious to see what kind of good racing we're going to see. And as you saw, those green cones up on the catch fence indicate our restart zone. Yes, all of Sinon's tracks have a restart zone. If you remember, the Oreo Cup Series raced at Albuquerque Speed Bowl in New Mexico. That's a track I've raced at before in the ASCC race. And that was a fun racetrack, despite it's almost like a version of Bristol, kind of. And it was a lot of fun. Even though I didn't get to finish the show for it, it was still fun. Saw some skid marks in turn number 1, which says to me that might be our trouble spot for this weekend, or for today's race. So we're looking at the bottom 6 who would fail to qualify, as we still got a good 7 minutes left to go in this qualifying session. We will go racing at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time later today. Give these drivers a chance to get qualifying out of the way. Give the top 35 drivers a chance to get some track time. And then we will go racing at 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. See, this is the part I'm going to talk about. Yeah, you see, these drivers are going to have troubles trying to get on the pit road if we have to make pit stops. And like I said, that's going to be a daunting pit road. Because let's look. What is the... 73 laps on a fuel run. That's on a slick racetrack, I should point out. Let's go on board Courtney Lynn. She'll take you a lap around this very interesting track. This is going into turn number 3. Look at the grandstands here. Almost like Las Vegas grandstands you see right here. Up into turn 1, you're going to hear the tires squeal like that. Really sharp turn. This is where Matthias Taub got hurt in the Master Cup race back in 2011, which triggered a big wreck that day. Thankfully, Taub's injuries was very low. That's definitely how you get around the Houston Supercell. Thank you to Courtney Lynn for giving us a lap around this track. Henrietta Fitzwater leaving the pits. As we're looking at Brooke Packett, who's currently ninth quickest on the session. Down to 3 minutes left to go in the session. Right now, the drivers who are on the outside looking in as far as making the race is concerned, Davis Santi, Brooke Packett, Samit Oskin, Lizette Armstrong, Ingrid Pollard, and Courtney Lynn. Those six need to pick up the pace if they want to have any chances of racing here this afternoon in the Lone Star State. The good news is these drivers are going to be staying in Texas because we're just going to go up I-35 next week to the Texas Motor Speedway. So at least we're going to have two races here in the state of Texas. This is the home state of Sean and Jesse Art. Even though they're from the Fort Worth area, this is still their home races. This is what we like to call their homecoming, as we say. Andrew Williams currently fifth quickest. Looks like, barring anything happening in the next 2 minutes, he will make the show. Kind of strange to not see Andrew, kind of strange that Andrew Williams has been struggling trying to make races this season. His brother Logan has only missed one race, but he's still in the top 35, believe it or not. Andrew Williams is 37th in the points. He's only had one lap led this season. And he's a whopping 60 points back of 35th in the standings. So he needs to pick it up if he's going to have any chances of making it back in the top 35, as we're down to a minute to go in this session. And if Santi can find like 300s, I think he can make the show, but that's going to be really a tall order. As Brooke Packett just brushed the wall just a little bit. Santi did not improve. Courtney Lynn in this gaggle here with Mauser and Whitlock. That was nearly close there, Reagan. 646, as that is zeros on the board. Hot laps will count. I think Matthew Hubert came out of the pits too late, so he's not going to get credit with a lap. John Schmitz is up to third. That puts Reagan Whitlock on the bubble. And I think we have our field if I'm correct. Yeah, they're not scoring drivers. I think that might have been our field there, so looks like Sam Tenley will be the fastest in this session and will make this week's race here at the Houston Supercell. And there we go. Hold on, before the officials say drivers to your cars, which gets a bit of annoying. So it'll be Sam Tenley, Henrietta Fitzwater, John Schmitz, Zachary Fitzwater, Andrew Williams, Matthew Hubert lay down a very good lap. That was good enough. And Reagan Whitlock will get the final transfer spot into the inaugural race here at the Houston Supercell. Unfortunately, the drivers who will not make this week's race here at Houston is David Santi, Brooke Packett, Timo Mauser, Lizette Armstrong, Ingrid Pollard, and Courtney Lynn. Those 6 drivers will not race in today's race. But the good news is they are going to stay put here in Texas because, as I said, next week they'll head up I-35 to the Fort Worth area where it is the home. Well, you can say this race and next week's race is 2 races for Jesse and Sean as far as their home race is concerned. But besides that, that is it for GOGH Qualifying. If you enjoyed this session, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to become part of the World Racing Association crew today. We'll be back here at 5:30 Eastern Standard Time for the first ever Red Bull GT Series race at Houston. We'll see you then as you've been watching another broadcast of the World Racing Association of Grace Racing since 2013.